The village in it with a map and a plan. No place too tiny for this determined man. Crossing the counties one by one, you'll see in every English corner a bit of history.
Hello folks, welcome back to Harborough once again. Now there are plenty of streams and watercourses that cross this land, and here I am stood above one of them. It's a very small bridge over a very small watercourse. You can probably hear it in the background. That is the Gadsby Brook, and this is one of the streams you can find in the parish of OWSTON and Newbold. OWSTON and Newbold, Oswald's Farm and New Buildings. Continuing with Harborough today, here's a parish that has quite a bit more than meets the eye. This is OWSTON and Newbold, which occupies a tract of land to the east of Marefield, where we were yesterday. It sits 5 miles west of Oakham, almost on the boundary between Leicestershire and Rutland. To get between the two principal places in this one, you have to use a couple of gates, which is always fun. Primarily, the main village here is OWSTON, a small rural settlement with a population to match. It has a village hall and a church, but that's not all. All around the village are copious amounts of earthworks, some of which belong to features within OWSTON, but some that don't too. One particular patch is the site of the medieval Marefield, before it moved to its current location near the route of the old railway line to John o' Gaunt Station. In the village itself there are others, some of which belong to the former OWSTON Abbey. It was a substantial complex of buildings that stood all around the current Church of St Andrew, a Grade 1 listed building. Although the relationship between the church and the former monastic arrangements remains uncertain, you do get the sense, standing outside of it, that it must have been quite important. Ironically, OWSTON Abbey was never prosperous. There are more earthworks to the south of the church, a large patch that we can walk on using a handy footpath. Elsewhere, we'll see a couple of gorgeous houses, a water pump, and of course the hamlet of Newbold, which is one of the smallest in Leicestershire. This will be a good one by the time we're done. Let's go and check it all out. Before we can get to either OWSTON or Newbold, we first have to deal with the site of medieval Marefield. You'll remember yesterday we briefly mentioned it used to be elsewhere. After crossing the border between Marefield and OWSTON and Newbold via Dawson's Lane, you see this field on the left-hand side. This is not where the medieval village was. However, you are very close. Marefield was in the next field over, sitting just to the south of Gadsby Brook, which defines the parish boundary. It includes an extensive network of hollow trackways, closes and building platforms, and a moated site in the northeast of it all. It's sometimes known as North Marefield. It developed beside an old road which is now a bridle path. It's considered that a platform on the western side contains remains of its former chapel. The moated site is roughly 30 metres square with a ditch 1 metre deep and 6 to 8 metres wide. The island in the middle measures 15 by 20 metres. A channel leads from the moat down a slope to a stream. The site contains many later quarry holes which may have resulted from gravel extraction for the railway lines that ran close by. The principal reason for desertion of this village was the imposed change in land use from arable to pasture in the 15th century, reflecting increases in the price of wool. There was a dispute concerning large flocks of sheep dated to 1463. Hey, that kind of thing only ever happened in the countryside. Okay, now to cross over the Gadsby Brook and make for Newbold. Now, if you thought Marefield was small yesterday, you ain't seen nothing yet. Newbold is minuscule. This is going to take me all of about 10 seconds. We're going to drive through that and then we'll head towards OWSTON, where the main walk will take place today. There's quite a bit more to see there. Okay, so now we're in Newbold, and getting here from the site of North Marefield isn't straightforward. There are no roads linking the two. Instead, you have to go through Borough on the Hill. Newbold is a tiny hamlet of just a few houses that sits on a bend where this road jinks northeast towards the village of Somerby. To get to OWSTON from here, you can drive it directly. However, you have to use a gated road. You know what that means. We've got to get out. Okay, we've made it to OWSTON, which means it's time for a walk around. Now, even though this is another small speck on the Leicestershire landscape, this one's got quite a bit to talk about. There's a few landmarks which are clustered around the church. Some of them you can see, some of them you can't. I'll explain when we get up there, and you'll see what I mean. So, our main sort of route, if you like, is to walk along this road here, which is the main street. It sort of loops around OWSTON towards the west and then heads off up that road to Newbold with the gates on it. So yeah, let's go see what we can find. In OWSTON, we begin proceedings on Main Street at its junction with Long Lane. There are some large houses in this part of the village. This one in particular, Field House, with its distinctive grey frontage, is one of them. It's Grade 2 listed, as are a few of OWSTON's properties actually. OWSTON used to have a school. It was this building here. Education in the village can be traced back to 1856, when a national school was constructed in OWSTON by Frederick Palmer of Withcote. It closed in 1906, but reopened in 1913 as a public elementary. It could house 40 children, a really small little place. Between 1906 and 1913, the local children attended school in Somerby and then Nossington before they could return here. Converted to a junior school in 1920, this was amalgamated with Nossington School in 1947. By 1961 it was disused, and the old ironstone building had been partly converted into a garage. Next, our eyes are drawn to the left-hand side of the road as we come to a water pump. This too has a connection to the Palmer family. The pump and its flanking wall form one listed building. The pump itself dates from 1903, whilst the wall is probably earlier, at least in parts. The wall forms a curved recess. Made of cast iron, the pump has a fluted shaft and cap, a small handle and a spout. Attached to the base is a stand. Look closely at the whole thing and you'll see there's an inscription stone on the wall behind the pump. That records why it was built. It was placed in memory of Frederick and Mary Palmer in 1907, being the gift of 3 other members of the Palmer family. So, I'm stood just a couple of steps away from the pump, and this is my view into the fields. I don't know whether the camera can pick this up, but it's very lumpy and bumpy out there. There's plenty of earthworks. I can explain some of those earthworks. We walk up the road a bit further, there's a footpath on the left-hand side which traverses this field. So, what are they? Let's find out. Next we come to a gentle bend where the road starts to turn north. On the left there's a footpath which runs across some fields, but these aren't just fields. These are earthworks, and it's quite an extensive patch. What we're walking on here are the remains of the massive OWSTON Abbey, whose buildings stretch north all the way up to the church. OWSTON Abbey began as an Augustinian monastic foundation before 1161, and substantial buildings stood here and around the site of the current church. It was dissolved at the Reformation and then mostly demolished. It was founded by Robert Grimbold and was endowed with the church and manor of OWSTON. By 1166 it had the right to appoint priests at Borough, Kings Norton and Slawston in Leicestershire, Tickencote in Rutland and North Witham in Lincolnshire. In 1341 it also gained the manor and church of Muston and was granted the manor of Normanton by Robert de Golville. Despite its endowment and rank, OWSTON remained one of the smaller and poorer Augustinian houses, often described as being in poverty. Although clearly powerful, OWSTON Abbey was among the smaller religious houses, with an annual income of just over £161. It was dissolved in 1536, and 20 years later, records state it was in ruins. The earthwork remains and foundations, along with several fish ponds, are now the largest clues to its existence, but some associated stonework is also below ground. Rounding the bend northwards now, we come to the Manor House. The Manor of OWSTON was at one time held by David, the King of Scotland. The manorial rights lapsed here in 1926. The Manor House faces the village street to the southeast of the church. It's a 2-storey ironstone house with limestone dressings and dates from the early 18th century. In 1912, this was the residence of John George Guilford, a local farmer. I have to say, as farmhouses go, you wouldn't mind this, would you? Found the allotments, they're dead opposite the manor house. These will keep the fans happy for another day. You know who you are. Right, let's continue. So from here, the road bends around to the left, past some more very historic buildings. I do believe some of these are related to the manor house. I'm not sure in what capacity, but yeah, I think a couple of them are. So we'll make our way around this bend, because this will take us towards the church here in OWSTON. This is the parish church of St Andrew, a Grade 1 listed building that occupies a prominent position in the village's westernmost reaches. It's thought, although it's never been proven, that in the adjacent field there may have been a Garden of Gethsemane. When the abbey was demolished, part of the church was retained. The chancel and other fragments of it were incorporated into the present St Andrew's Church. Those are the only pieces of the actual abbey building that remain now. The result is that St Andrew's is an unusually large building proportionally. This dates back to 1170, associated as it was with the abbey. The tower and the short spire date to around 1300. The whole building was restored in 1861. There was also another restoration in 2021 which saw the tower and spire works completed through the COVID-19 Emergency Heritage at Risk Response Fund. This also repaired the rainwater goods too. Lastly, here in OWSTON, we have the village hall to consider. This is on Cox's Lane, which runs east from the site of the church towards Long Lane. This opened in 1950. It's remained OWSTON's main communal venue ever since. I couldn't help but think that this resembles one of those caravan-type lodgings you get on holiday parks, but if it does the job, it's all good. So there's a road that links the village hall back to the main street, and that will complete our circuit of OWSTON. Let's walk along it. It's not very long, we may as well walk the whole length of it. There's a phone box here outside Ashtray House. It's got a defib machine in it. And then we'll continue up here. A couple of houses on either side, nothing massively special. So yeah, in a second you'll know where you are, because like I say, this links back to the main street, and then we'll just turn left and walk back to the beginning. Some nice houses down here. It's very white, isn't it? Lots of white properties, whitewashed brick or render, whatever you want to call it. And there you go. Look, you see there's the pump and the recessed wall, the Palmer Memorial, I suppose you could potentially call that as well. And that's it. We are finished with OWSTON and Newbold. Okay, we are through OWSTON and Newbold, and we're heading for the next one. There are loads of earthworks in this bit of Leicestershire, and we're not done with them just yet. Tomorrow we'll start off by discussing another deserted medieval village, this time on the road to a current larger one which has plenty of things to cover. I'll see you there. Now, just before I go, remember, this video is part of a huge project to visit every civil parish in England. That's more than 10,000. These routes are pre-planned, and due to time constraints, I can't cover every detail or walk down every street. Please don't complain if this video missed something out. I pronounce names how I choose to. I am very aware that local dialect may vary, and I don't take kindly to criticism about this. You've been warned. It's impossible to know everything too. If this video was terrible, make your own. If you're a regular watcher of The Village Idiot, you're not the only one. If you've got a small business, why not use my videos to advertise it? Leave a comment below if you're interested. And finally, thanks for watching this episode, everybody. Give us a like and a subscribe if you've enjoyed this episode, and share it with your friends and relatives. It all helps to keep this mission going. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as The Village Idiot, and I'm out.